You try to do more and don't decide what to focus on. Time feels like an unstoppable conveyor belt, bringing us new tasks as fast as we can dispatch the old ones, and becoming more productive just seems to cause the belt to speed up. When people make enough money to meet their needs, they just find new things to need and new lifestyles to aspire to. The real problem isn't our limited time. The real problem is that we've unwittingly inherited, and feel pressured to live by, a troublesome set of ideas about how to use our limited time, all of which are pretty much guaranteed to make things worse. Since hard choices are unavoidable, what matters is learning to make them consciously, deciding what to focus on and what to neglect, rather than letting them get made by default. Warren Buffett's advice: make a list of the top 25 things you want out of life and then arrange them in order, from the most important to the least. The top 5 should be those around which you organize your time. The remaining 20 should be actively avoided at all costs, because they're the ambitions insufficiently important to you. They distract you from the core of your life that matters the most. What are your top priorities? You focus on the future. Instead of simply living our lives as they unfold in time, it becomes difficult not to value each moment primarily according to its usefulness for some future goal, or for some future oasis of relaxation you hope to reach once your tasks are finally out of the way. It wrenches us out of the present, leading to a life spent leaning into the future, worrying about whether things will work out, experiencing everything in terms of some later, hoped-for benefit, so that peace of mind never quite arrives. We labor at our daily work more ardently and thoughtlessly than is necessary to sustain our life, because to us it is even more necessary not to have leisure time to stop and think. Haste is universal because everyone is in flight from himself. How are you feeling at this moment? What do you need to do right now? You ignore your limitations. There is no time management technique that's half as effective as just facing the way things truly are. Once you become convinced that something you've been attempting is impossible, it's a lot harder to keep on berating yourself for failing. A limit-embracing attitude to time means organizing your days with the understanding that you definitely won't have time for everything you want to do, or that other people want you to do, and so, at the very least, you can stop beating yourself up for failing. Technically, it's irrational to feel troubled by an overwhelming to-do list. You'll do what you can, you won't do what you can't, and the tyrannical inner voice insisting that you must do everything is simply mistaken. When there is too much to do, the only route to psychological freedom is to let go of the limit-denying fantasy of getting it all done and instead focus on doing a few things that count. It's not an incremental improvement, but a change in perspective that reframes everything. Once you no longer need to convince yourself that you'll do everything that needs doing, you're free to focus on doing a few things that count. What limitation have you been avoiding, and how can you accept it? You seek out pleasure and experiences. Stuffing your life with pleasurable activities often proves less satisfying than you'd expect. The more wonderful experiences you succeed in having, the more additional wonderful experiences you start to feel you could have, or ought to have, on top of all those you've already had, with the result that the feeling of existential overwhelm gets worse. For existential overwhelm, what's required is the will to resist the urge to consume more and more experiences, since that strategy can only lead to the feeling of having even more experiences left to consume. You get to focus on fully enjoying the tiny slice of experiences you actually do have time for, and the freer you are to choose, in each moment, what counts the most. What experiences can you let go of?